everyone, this is Jordan Blue, just taking my daily walk here in Hua Hin, Thailand. And today's topic would be on steps towards your retirement. So retirement is something that maybe some of us may be thinking about, but actually looking at the stats, it looks as though the majority of us don't even think about retirement, especially, you know, in our 30s or 40s. At that point in time, we're looking at, you know, saving up for a home, or getting a new car, or getting those gadgets, etc., and spending away, really. And really at the age of 40, a lot of people, what they do is you have a little bit more income during that age, and they actually start doing renovations to their homes, right? Which is in some ways kind of wasteful to do. Just because, you know, the renovations, they're not actually going towards the worth of the home, but just, you know, for the worth of the interior. Usually what you should do is you should look at just at the minimum things you need to do for your home, and not to make any major changes to your home that will have repercussions for you. Some of that money actually has to go directly to your retirement fund, but anyways, that's what the trend seems to be. But for those who are looking to retire early, or just to reach retirement overall, you can actually tap into your retirement fund there at the age of 59 and a half. And at 65, you'll be able to, at 62, you'll be able to tap into your Social Security without any penalties. But interestingly enough, if you look at a lot of the resources on retirement, you'll find certain magical numbers that they post, and they say in order for you to make about $60,000 per year, you need about $2 million. And not a lot of people can do this, right? Because what that means is you'll have to save around $2,000 a month till the age of 65 in order to reach that $2 million mark. So, but the reality is, for most, it is very much possible to reach $1 million. So you can live on half of that, like $30,000 USD per year. And as long as you have, you know, you live within your means, not spending too much of materialism, it's very much possible to live on $1 million. What is interesting is that, yeah, I mean, it's possible to live on $30,000 if you live frugally. But the thing is, once you do achieve financial independence or retirement, you actually don't need as much as you think you do, because you're no longer going to work, which means you're no longer commuting as often. So that means less on gasoline and wear and tear on your home, your car, I mean. And also clothing, as an example. You won't have to wear as many clothing at all as well. Because, yeah, I mean, for us, for example, when we hit financial independence, we actually have way less that we wear, right? So we don't really wear too much every day. I mean, we don't have too many clothes in the closet there. I mean, as an example, for us, for the last 3-year period, we actually haven't really bought any clothes, and it was actually a self-directed goal of ours. It's actually a self-directed goal of mine, actually, to not buy clothes for a whole entire year. And it actually turned out to be 3 years for us, and it just proves that you don't really need too much clothing in retirement. So there's other little things too, you know. You also don't need to go out, you know, to those lunches with your bosses or your friends or anything like that. Your co-workers, I mean. You know, those lunch meetings really do add up. I mean, sometimes your boss does pay for it, but sometimes, you know, you got to pay out of pocket, and it does add up. And so you don't have to worry about those kind of things anymore. It's actually not like everybody, you know, sits around thinking about retirement. It actually becomes a little bit of a sad story for some, because they're in a particular job that they don't really like, and they feel like, you know, quitting that job, but they can't because you know, they have to pay for their bills. It's very much understandable. But then there's some people who actually think about, you know, early retirement, which we did, but it roughly took us about 15 years to achieve. And that was essentially because of you know, the philosophies we followed there with minimalism and frugality. And retirement actually became a possibility. To be honest with you, I was laid off, and that kind of forced me to rethink our financial situation. And after the recalculation, we found out that we can actually retire early, and that's what we did. So that's why we're here in Thailand. You know, we're looking for a means to be able to lower our costs even further by finding a particular country of our liking that we can retire to, and just lower our costs overall. What you may be interested in doing is maybe doing a trial retirement, right? Maybe using some educated guesses for retiring for 1 year. Then you can figure out all of the expenses that you may have in retirement. So it's actually something that you want to really look down and look at your budgeting sheets, and you know, all the things that you're passionate about should be written down, like traveling, for example. So it's actually something that you can realistically do just by writing a few points down in a spreadsheet. Of course, it won't be 100% accurate. I mean, you're making an educated guess here, but you can, you know, break down what you're doing on a daily basis and then see, you know, if that will apply to retirement. You know, like the examples that I made about gasoline. Will you be traveling as much as you did while having that full-time job? Another thing you want to maybe look at is, you know, other than thinking about the numbers yourself, is by simply automating everything. You know, making things a lot easier just by automating it. So you can automate your contributions there to your brokerage account or your 401k or your Roth IRA. You know, you can automate all of your bills as well. So you can take all of that out and just press a button or two and make sure the funds go into accounts where you want growth in. You know, you want yield growth. So that's essentially what you want to do. Get that burden out of having to think about it yourself out of the equation. And part of the calculation is that you already know what the dollar figure you need to retire early. So you're very much ahead of the game if you know what your target amount would be. So you just have to flip on automatic payments and, you know, just sit back and look at the numbers or the money work for you, other than the other way around. So essentially the whole point of this is to make sure the money that you generate works for you other than you working for the money. So right now, you know, you have that full-time job, but of course you have to be working in order to achieve your goals. We all have to do that, unless you win the lottery or something, but the chances of that is next to never, really. So you got to work with what you have with your salary there, like we did, and save diligently and have your goals set. Another point you want to look at is you know, thinking about lowering your living expenses. I mean, you know, those who have been watching my vlog know that this is very important to do. You know, just maybe you don't need that $2 million, and you don't need that $60,000 per year in order for you to live a good life in retirement. Maybe $1 million is how much you need. So that would mean you would probably be getting half of you know, that amount. But then it's very much possible for the average person to really reach $1 million. Of course, $1 million is not the ultimate goal. It's just the initial amount you need to you know, retire somewhat semi-comfortably. You'll need to also grow your nest egg from there as well, from all of your investments. But yeah, I mean, lowering your spending habits and living on less should be part of the equation as well in retirement. But what you can do is, you know, you can find different kinds of solutions, like, you know, if you're living by yourself and you have an extra room or something like that, then you can rent it out and have somebody else live in that space and you'll get the rent for it. Or maybe you have a family and you have a basement, you can have people stay in your basement. You know, whatever it takes to really find a means to saving. So there's a lot of different solutions like that. And even if For example, if you're a college student, I know of this one friend of mine. Back in the day, he actually rented the whole entire house. And that house had 3 rooms in it. And what he did was he rented all 3 of those rooms out. And he ended up actually not having to pay any rent at all through his college years. It was a really smart thing to do, right? Because I mean, going to school is pretty expensive. It's probably the 2nd largest debt you can have, especially nowadays. The educational system, you know, it's so expensive to get a degree or a PhD. It's nuts. Of course, education is important. A person with a degree actually makes about $1 million compared to a high school. A person who graduates for the high school diploma, and actually a person with a PhD, in theory anyways, makes about $3 million more than the high school graduate. So looking at those facts, education does become very important. But nowadays, sometimes there's such things as over-education, right? Because a lot of the corporations, they don't require you to have a certain specialization in order for you to do that job at hand. So from that perspective, some people lose out on money because they spend too much on their education. What you can basically do is you can live on the multiply by 25 rule. So essentially what you do is you calculate out all of your expenses on a monthly basis, and then once you have a lump sum, you calculate that amount by 25, and that would essentially be the amount that you can have in retirement. Then what you can do is you know, you can essentially live on 4% of that 25% lump sum. So that's essentially all you need to do. You also want to find ways to optimize your retirement fund, right? Like you know, company matching 401ks are an excellent way for you to grow your wealth as well. It's free money from your company, right? And depending on what kind of thing you do, I mean, you know, you get like 4%, 6%. Some people even get more than that for their 401k. So it's very much a good strategy for you to jumpstart your retirement there as well, the matching 401k. Another thing you want to look at is you may want to, you know, possibly start a business as well. You know, not a lot of people like to work that 9-to-5 job, you know, for the rest of their lives. So they think up of certain business ideas. You might be even sitting on one right now that might make you a millionaire, who knows. But the thing is, thinking of making up a business is also a good idea as well, and you have certain benefits of doing so as well. Another definitely important point is to really keep healthy. I mean, what's the point of getting to retirement if you're not healthy doing so, right? So it's very much important for you to keep your body in shape. Maybe for me, actually, I don't smoke, I don't drink, you know. But I try and take my daily walks like I do, and it's important because those health costs may add up in the future, right? So you want to take a look at that, your medical costs as well in the longer term. What you also need to do is you need to also plan for the unexpected as well. So make sure that you have that into the equation as well, like we do, kind of like an emergency fund. In case there's some kind of lump sum that you would need. But to be honest with you, the worst emergency I would say would be around $10,000 USD. So that's probably the worst. That's probably the amount that you need to prepare yourself for any kind of emergency out there. Well, I think I have my blog here today. Tell me what you think of the steps towards your financial independence or retirement in the comment section below. If you like this vlog, please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for more of my coming content here. Thank you for watching my vlog. Be free, gain wealth, and travel far.